The community has waited for 2.2 for 2,091 days, roughly 6 years. And with the millions who have anticipated this update and the half a decade that has passed since 2.1's released, the question is, will it live up to the expectations? Shortly after releasing 2.1 in 2017, Robtop would start work on the next update. At this point, we can assume Robtop only planned to add a new game mode and a couple other features, as we can see in the Geometry Dash preview game, Sub-Zero. This game showcased things such as a zoom trigger and the ability to go backwards, which at the time was enough for a small update. But it wasn't. See, 2.1 took Robtop just over a year to make, and combining 2.1 and 2.11, these updates added 15 new major features. With these new features, and around 2 years to develop them, how long do you think it would take Robtop to add over 400 new icons, 3 new modes, many different editor changes, 2 new levels, a new way to play gauntlets, a new demon level, and all this while not promising more than he'd be able to deliver? Yep, that sounds about right. Ever since the release of 2.1, the entire community has been anticipating the next update. No one had any idea how much longer it would be though, not even Robtop. For most of this wait, the community would go months without any meaningful news from Robtop, and even then, we would only get major announcements every year or so. These announcements could be things from updates on how development is going, all the way to the addition of new features. That last thing I mentioned would prove to be a little problematic, and as you might assume, announcing new features to satisfy the growing hunger for new content of the community would only push back the release date. Of course, this is to be expected from an indie game like Geometry Dash, but this further created this growing excitement in the community. And as each day passed, the expectations got higher. How would Robtop keep up? Would he disappoint the community after all these years of waiting? When Robtop started development on 2.2, he likely only planned to work on it for a year or two, as he had done with his previous updates. But he would quickly find out that developing the features he had said would be in the update would take much longer than he had originally thought. So, to compensate for the time spent adding those features, he decided just to add another thing onto the update. This cycle would repeat for almost the entire first half of development, until thankfully Robtop would focus on making sure he could add everything that he mentioned would be in the update, as to not underdeliver on his promises. As game development is an incredibly hard thing to do, it's immeasurably impressive for Robtop, a solo indie dev, to put so much effort into one update. Robtop decided to focus on fulfilling his initial promises before building hype. This, however, led to Robtop being quiet about 2.2, which would lead to... It's no secret that the Geometry Dash community has a large audience of children. This isn't a bad thing, but it's important that I bring this up because, along with younger viewers, comes with more manipulative and aggressive advertising. This becomes clear when we look at a couple thumbnails about Geometry Dash. So with the radio silence on Robtop's end, more and more clickbait would appear in the recommended sections of excited players. These content creators pushed the hype of this update far beyond what was necessary to assume from what Robtop already shown. This set the bar of expectations higher than what Robtop would be able to fulfill. This led to lots of false expectations for release dates. To show you this is a real concern for the release of 2.2, so many people expected Robtop to release 2.2 on February 22nd of this year, that when it wasn't, many people got mad at Robtop. But this wasn't Robtop's fault. He did nothing to build hype for the release date of 2/22/22. This excitement was based purely on clickbait titles and false expectations based on inadequate evidence. This just goes to show you how much hype was building for this update. Using what we learned, we can make some predictions. So, speculation time. When 2.2 is released, there's a chance the community will be split. People who set their expectations higher than is reasonable, and those who are just happy to finally get their hands on the update after all this time. We can already see the signs of this split with people arguing on days like 2/22/22. Could these be the cracks showing before the update comes out? Sadly, we can't know. But we can know that it is unlikely for everyone to be perfectly satisfied by the update, it's just a matter of how many people. These next two break down what may split the community. The update underdelivers. In this scenario, Robtop does not fulfill everything that he said would be in the update. Thankfully, this is unlikely because Robtop seems to be trying to make sure that this update fulfills every promise he has made. We can expect mistakes, but we can hope that this doesn't happen. And due to Robtop's dedication to quality over quantity, I think we can rule this out from being a likely outcome. In the next, the update over-delivers. In this scenario, Robtop adds features to the update that no one expected. He gives more than he promised. This, while being the best outcome, is sadly unlikely. It's best not to expect more than perfection from the update. Even after all these years have passed, Robtop is only human. You may want to believe this, but that would also mean that Robtop spent time making hidden features that would make the development of the update take even longer, so I think we can rule this out too. But after those unlikely scenarios, what if we found the middle ground? The most likely outcome? Should we even try? Why are we asking this question? Maybe we should just accept the way that this update comes out is the way it came out, or is going to come out. We aren't inside the mind of Robtop. It's better to have an update than no update at all, so lower your expectations or at least try to. And with that, I'd like to leave you with this quote. That's all for today. Have a good day and